Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to the Sounds of Coherency. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this. A lot of times on the episodes, and I'm sure if you remember from the previous ones, we talk about Social Security, we talk about immigration and refugees, and the idea is we want to help people, and there's nothing wrong with that, but at what cost? At what point does the United States need to settle down and say maybe we should fix our house first before we go throwing all our resources into the neighborhood? And there's nothing wrong with wanting to help people around the world. There's a lot of people in need. There's a lot of powerful countries around the world who could be doing more than they do. The U.S. is always stepping in, but there's nothing wrong with that. Again, there's nothing wrong with helping people. But again, when you have your own country falling apart from the inside out, at what point do you take the time to stop and say maybe we should reassess our priorities? Now we've talked about illegal immigration, people coming into the nation by not the thousands or the tens of thousands, but literally by the millions. And at what point do we stop and say, is this sustainable? A lot of people have a lot of good ideas and they want to do good things, but they want other people to pay for it. They have this idea that the United States has this endless supply of money, and the United States doesn't. It borrows money. China buys our debt. The United States doesn't collect enough money from taxpayers to pay Social Security benefits each year, so it has to borrow money in order to do so. Now, the United States has brought in many refugees. The United States has the SSI program, Supplemental Security Income. And this is for people in need. And we will pull this up on the screen because there is a difference between Social Security and SSI benefits. And as you can see here from the fact sheet, as it says, there is often confusion about Social Security and Supplemental Security Income because you apply for both programs with the Social Security Administration. But the programs are different. The Social Security benefit programs are entitlement programs. I don't like that. I don't know if I'd call it an entitlement program because you worked for it. You paid into it. So technically, it's an earned program, in my opinion. This means that workers, employers, and the self-employed pay for the benefits with their Social Security taxes. The taxes that are collected are put into special trust funds. You qualify for these benefits based on your work history. Here you go. You earned it. Now, SSI is a needs-based program for people with limited income and resources. Now, that would be entitlement. But there's nothing wrong with that. Again, there's nothing wrong with helping people. Now, if this was a program that was, say, for Americans, now that would be a good thing. But it's not. It's not just for Americans. This is basically for anybody who comes into the United States. And this is the reality of it. This is basically for anybody in the United States, legal or illegal, citizen or non-citizen. The reason I'm bringing this up is because, I'm going to pull this up on the screen. Let's see here. All right, as you can see, number 117-9, date June 8, 2022. President signs H.R. 7691, the Additional Ukraine Supplemental Appropriations Act of 2022. On May 21st, the President signed H.R. 7691 into public law, 117-128. This law includes the following provision of interest to the Social Security Administration. All right, Title 4, Section 401, General Provision. This section allows citizens of Ukraine, nationals of Ukraine, or individuals who last habitually resided in Ukraine to receive supplemental security income if they were paroled into the United States between February 24th, 2022 and September 30th, 2023, or paroled into the United States after September 30th, 2023, and they are a spouse or a child of a person from Ukraine who was paroled into the United States between February 24th, 2022 and September 30th, 2023, blah, blah, blah. And to be eligible for SSI benefits, these parolees must meet all of the program's other requirements. For example, a parolee must be at least 65 or disabled or blind and have countable income and resources below the program limits. Look, $100 billion at this point. At this point, the United States has given the Ukrainians $100 billion. This doesn't include the weapons. It's not like we're giving them the money and then they're buying the weapons from us. It's not the case. Countries from around the world are giving Ukrainians weapons. Understand, Germany's giving them weapons. Everybody's giving them weapons. We're giving them $100 billion. Can they not afford to fund their people that are abroad here? I mean, at this point, why are we even still giving them money? What is happening with that money? There's no audit. And we're just keep pouring more money into it. Look, I understand helping people is a good thing. It really is. We want there to be peace. We want people to live peacefully, and we don't want them to have to struggle. But this is a joke. This is not sound. This is not good business. This is bullshit. I'm sorry. This is a tragedy, and pretty much they've become a liability to United States citizens. You got to understand these SSI benefits are paid from taxpayer dollars. Okay? And this is why that's important. These SSI benefits are paid by the U.S. taxpayer. This is more of your money going everywhere but to the citizens. Again, and I've brought this up before, you have illegal immigrants staying at, on military bases. They're not housing homeless Americans on these bases. You have cities around the United States that have commandeered hotels to house immigrants and refugees in. And at no point did they do any of that with the same taxpayer dollars that they're using to do this for American citizens in their communities. So again, I asked the question, at what point does the United States stop and say, maybe we should get our priorities in check? Because this is a sinking ship. It cannot continue this way. There is no way 5 years from now the United States will... Look, the United States is not going to fall. It's not going to go anywhere. But as far as the citizens go, as far as them being able to live semi-comfortably even, we're talking about your average citizen, okay? It can't go on like this, because as they continue to borrow money to spend towards this nonsense that has nothing to do with the American people, they're going to have to increase taxes. They can tell you all day long, we're not going to increase the taxes on the little guy, on the dwindling middle class. We're only going to tax the rich and the elite and the upper class. That's a lie every single time. And every time they do that, every time they say that, what ends up happening? Taxes for the lower class or the middle class go up. Taxes on things that you purchase go up. The cost of things continues to go up and finds its way out of your price range. Look at what is happening right now with the cost of food in the United States. At the rate that it's going, you're going to have a lot of hungry people in 5 years. So again, I don't want to go too off base and go on a tangent with this, but the reality is the United States needs to get its shit together. And don't get me wrong. Again, I say this again. We want to help people, but at some point, the bleeding hearts need to realize that eventually you're going to run out of blood. But I thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.